Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here at the Virtuoso Symposium on Crystal Serenity. And if you notice in the background, we're in Monte Carlo. It's the final stop, or next to final stop on this cruise. We've had a great series of meetings here. We went to amazing places just for a couple of days. We've basically been all over in Italy and France, and now in Monte Carlo. And we're going to talk to David Koellner, Executive Vice President, about some of the trends and some of the numbers that Virtuoso is seeing, which he provided a great summary of during the general session. And you're going to find out about all that and more on Insider Travel Report. David, first of all, great to see you. What a spectacular place here.
Yeah, this is a lovely setting for an interview. Crystal Serenity in Monaco, Monte Carlo behind us. Can't really go wrong right here, right?
And we're going to go break the bank in Monte Carlo a little later.
Okay, that's all right. I'm with you.
Okay, so let's first talk about, in your presentation you said there are really chaotic times for travel these days with the politics, the different economic policies, the stock market swings. What are the things most impacting travel today, and particularly luxury travel?
Yeah, really good question. I think it is a very turbulent time for travel sales right now, especially in all sectors. It is impacting to some degree the luxury category. What we've really been talking about here at Symposium is how the signals are so mixed right now of what people are hearing, and everybody's hearing a slightly different story. One of the things that we're really watching is that growth is absolutely still happening in our segment. So sales are up for 2025 on average for Virtuoso members worldwide. However, that growth is probably slower than it was for 24 over 2023.
Which was during the height of the rebound in COVID, right? Which everybody, that came back so strong for 2-3 years there, right?
For sure. So growth is slowing a little bit more year over year. However, we have to keep that also in perspective. The fact that 2024 was a record year, 23 was a record year, 22 was a record year. So any year that we're having a sales increase, we're still going to have very likely a record year in 2025.
Now, the sales last year were up how much?
About 22-23% worldwide for the Virtuoso network.
And what are you seeing so far in 25?
We're seeing the sales for the first quarter up about 14%. That's the number we were quoting here at Symposium. However, that has again, so many factors vary, James. So one thing that was a big factor this year is that spring break or the Easter holiday period fell in Q2. Okay. So all those sales that were in Q1 in 2024 that we're doing a purely calendar year-over-year period are excluded, and they actually don't even show up in the totals. Okay. So some people had a slower March, so that 14% is probably not as accurate as our spring break numbers, which were more in the 20% range, of spring break being the period from February 28th till April 20th, taking a longer window comparing 24 over 25, and just seeing that there actually is probably a little bit more growth in that happening.
Yeah, and that's encouraging that you still have that growth. And what were some of the categories that are doing really well right now?
Yeah, well, we saw growth actually in all categories. Okay. So everything is up a little bit. Definitely there seems to be a higher growth in hotel direct bookings that we're seeing, so there's a burst in that again to some degree. Another thing we're seeing a big increase in is cruise bookings in the long term. Cruise long-term bookings, I'm sure we're going to talk about that in a minute, are really leading the way for those future 1 to 2 year out bookings.
So this is business for 26 and 27, right?
Yeah, I mean, we continue to see on the average booking length that it's increasing slightly still. We actually didn't see in the massive amount of data that we have, we didn't see a big variation in earlier or later trips. But again, James, this whole story is like we say here, your mileage may vary, YMMV, the Gen Z term. You know, it really is going to depend on your individual business mix, even where you are in the country. You know, clients or agencies that have clients based in Southern California were probably all greatly impacted by the wildfires at the beginning of this year. Their spring break was a very mixed bag of some people that wanted to have a blowout vacation just to forget it all. Some people weren't ready to travel. travel. Some people didn't book to the last minute, whereas other parts of the country may have had a more normal year. So the variation of what's impacting travel around the country is just really very varied, more varied than we've ever seen before.
A lot of this is encouraging news. I think for people who might have think the last few months everything's tanking because of the stock market, and of course the stock market has been swinging wildly, and that used to be a barometer even for luxury sales, right?
Yeah, I think the one thing in general that we see with the entire travel category that I think we're so proud of since the recovery from the pandemic is that there are fewer shocks in general on the system. Right. So although there are big events that happen in the past, they might have stopped travel entirely to a particular region or a type of travel. We're not seeing that impact as much anymore. That said, the U.S. stock market is one of the leading factors that influences consumer behavior, particularly at the high net worth and ultra high net worth level. Not necessarily that clients don't have the money to travel, they just may not feel as rich when there's turbulence in the stock market valuations, or they may think, I'm going to take 3 trips this year instead of 5 trips this year. So just a difference in client behavior.
Well, it could maybe something like we saw also post-COVID, everybody wanted to travel, and so if travel was sort of inured from that, and maybe we're getting to a point where the stock market doesn't even have an effect.
Yeah, I think we're definitely more resilient on so many factors. If you think about all the things that have happened in the last few years even in the travel industry that have set us back, let alone the things in the last 2 weeks that we've even experienced since this event began. So it's a great sign that the industry is more resilient, and we're excited about that, and we hope that continues.
Fantastic. Well, maybe it's the Mad magazine, What Me Worry, Why Worry factor, where regardless of what happens, why not travel?
Yeah, I think it's true. People really think of travel as a part of their life versus so much of a luxury.
Absolutely. Now, you also polled your members about how they're feeling about this year, and I think you had some encouraging numbers there too, right?
Yeah, an incredible number. More than 90% of members are seeing their sales, are planning for their sales to increase or grow or stay the same in 2025. And then we have another number about their confidence in hiring. About 90% of agencies worldwide, some even higher in some regions, are hiring advisors or management staff or support staff in the year ahead. I think it's a great sign of just the quality of agencies in Virtuoso that are growing, planning for growth, and wanting to meet that consumer opportunity that's out there.
And of course now, it turns out in the last couple of years, being a travel advisor is a growing profession and one of the top professions anywhere.
For sure. I mean, LinkedIn had a poll in December and stated that travel advisor is the top number 5 fastest growing job category that they have. So that's pretty impressive.
I love that stat, and it's. I mean, you and I both came from a period where maybe people thought
top 5.
No, not at all. And we thought travel advisors. They said, "Aren't travel advisors going away?" And we would say, "No, they're still here." But we don't have to say that anymore.
Yeah, right? There's incredible opportunity. Just for advisors in America. I mean, there's tens of millions of high net worth and affluent clients that want to use an advisor this year. Is what we think.
Now, obviously, they're hopeful about this year. They're expecting it to be a good year. What are some of the things that they are concerned about, though?
On the advisor level, definitely geopolitical conflicts is at the top of the list. Economic uncertainty, political uncertainty is a key factor. One of the things that's funny, actually, if I can turn the question a bit, James, that they're not worried about is that we do another study where we ask, do you view artificial intelligence as an opportunity or a threat? And we've been tracking this for a couple of years. It's always been more as an opportunity than a threat. But this year, we're seeing nearly 3 times as many members seeing AI as an opportunity versus a threat. And actually, in some regions around the world, like in China and in other regions, Latin America, they actually view AI as an opportunity as the single biggest impact in luxury travel in 2025.
Well, I know a lot of travel advisors have been trying to figure out AI, but in general, everything I'm hearing is that they view it as an opportunity and as an aid to helping them build their business.
For sure. Efficiency, improving quality of work, improving thoroughness of work, and we've done a lot of work with our network, including in our professional professional development at this event and other events around how to use AI agents or AI bots, as we would probably say, not to replace a travel advisor as an agent, but an agent in the AI sense of a particular function that does a very routine task for you on your behalf.
So this is not the Terminator, right?
It's not the Terminator. In fact, again, it's like 3-1 is like, I think agencies are pretty optimistic about AI.
Excellent, absolutely. Now, what are some of the trends you are seeing, that Virtuoso is seeing in luxury travel today? I think we heard some encouraging news about Europe, right?
Yeah, I mean, as we were going through all the data for this event, we really drove it into two camps. One is, I know it's not very exciting on the media side, but some of the trends that we've been watching are still the trends that we're watching. Right. So it's like the trends are the trends. We
only like new trends. We don't.
So to disappoint you a little bit, I would say that the trends are somewhat staying the same. So some things that are staying the same. Europe continues to be hot. So 25% up is the sales we're seeing even for this summer compared to last year. This is total bookings on the books. That's no guarantee as to how the summer will eventually turn out, but compared to the same time last year, up 25% in total dollar volume for all of Europe. And leading the way is another trend that is still trending, which is cool is hot.
Sure. Scandinavia, you said, and Canada, right?
Yeah, and so we normally track Scandinavia. That's up over 72% year over year coming into the summer. But we've kind of been expanding our circle of what's cool, especially for our folks watching from North America. And Canada is up, which is surprising. So Americans are traveling to Canada.
The Canadians aren't coming here.
At an even greater rate than normal. And then there's also we've seen a big uptick in travel to the U.S. Cool destinations like the Rockies and Alaska are also showing big movements.
So those are great things to watch. Now, talk a little bit about, you're seeing more of a willingness among luxury travelers to really engage and with sustainable travel, right?
Yeah, I would probably put that still in the category of trends that are still trending. Our most recent study that we did of affluent travelers around the world, I think the study is in 10 different countries around the world, targeting both clients that use an advisor, clients that use a Virtuoso advisor, and clients that don't use an advisor, just people that are high net worth and ultra high net worth. 2 out of 3 were interested in learning about choices they could make that would make their travels more sustainable from their advisor. And I think this is a great reminder for all advisors just to think about mentioning sustainable options to their client. They may not ask about it for whatever reason, but that's another huge value add that an advisor can add to the process, which is those things that the client doesn't know to think about or ask about, and sustainability falls into that camp. So we're just really reminding everybody that sustainability is probably on your client's mind. So just offer the options and learn about it yourself and share that information.
And in fact, last year you came out with a report on sustainability, and the whole point is that sustainability sells, right? People want to do it, and it's something you can sell as a travel advisor. Right?
Totally. You couldn't set it better.
Now, another trend you saw was, which I was surprised at these days, maybe it shouldn't be, but safety and security is a consideration, right?
Yeah. Okay. So now we're on to the new trends, James. Yeah. Good transition here. Definitely one of the things we're seeing is an interest in security and safety. Greater emphasis on that in 2025. 3 out of 5 travelers are saying it is one of their concerns, so a top concern. And 1 out of 3 are actually saying it is the top value add that an advisor brings to the relationship with the client. That knowledge and thoroughness that they can feel just more confident. I think that's a really unique aspect of advising that we probably haven't emphasized enough in appealing to consumers, but something also that your clients may be looking for from you is that insight about safety and security, whatever that is to them.
Yeah. Now, another trend was, because it's been almost an overtrend now, is the White Lotus effect, which you kind of, it's basically set jetting or whatever it was, and we're seeing a lot of that in the last year, right?
For sure. We've been tracking this whole first part of the year about the impact of what we call the White Lotus effect. And certainly we saw an incredible impact to destinations, not just the properties that are featured. So for us, Hawaii was up about 300%. To date, from the launch of that season. Sicily up 400% since the launch of that season. That's all properties that are in Sicily. And so we've been watching very carefully what's going on with Thailand. And the good news is that there is an increase, for sure, in travel to Thailand. Overall, it's up, but not as much. It's only up about 25 27% for Thailand, and not as much even for Koh Samui, which is the featured location. So it's definitely starting to trend, but for your clients that are still thinking about going, I think it's still a good time to consider traveling there.
Well, I got to tell you, if we get one more release on White Lotus Effect, I'm going to scream, because we're getting a lot of that. Obviously, Thailand wanted to, basically take advantage of the White Lotus, and hopefully they will eventually, but it's not quite the same yet. Right?
It's not, and the impact has always been over time anyway that we've observed. So plenty of time to keep watching it. We can cut you off of the press distribution list for the next White Lotus Effect.
Don't send me any more White Lotus releases now. I don't want to hear about it. No.
Okay, let's move on.
I know. So any other trends that we got?
I think you've got a good list right there. One thing we continue to watch is the impact of the U.S. stock market. So I think that's an overwhelming concern for our U.S. members specifically, just to keep an eye on that and what it does to consumer confidence in the coming months. So
unless
lots to
they
watch.
just say, the heck with it, I'm going to travel no matter what. I could be zero in the stock market, I'm going to go, right?
They're definitely traveling, and people are continue to book those big trips long-term in advance. $50,000 and up bookings are still a huge factor in our network.
And the last question is not related to the survey. I know you're working on a sort of a new Virtuoso membership categories. I know you're not ready to reveal all this, but what can we expect from Virtuoso about who can be a member and what kinds of members you're going to have?
Yeah, I mean, I think a good question, James. We're not ready to fully release it, so there'll be a future press release and an interview coming for you for sure.
Well,
and for
something to talk about in Vegas, right?
Yes, maybe sooner. We've been working with our member advisory board over all of 2024 to really look at the quality and qualifications of what a member agency is, and it's something that's going to be a continued focus for the Virtuoso Network, because we really do raise the bar and set the standard for the industry in the luxury leisure category. One of the things that we've noticed is just the changing nature of agencies and the changing nature of independent contractors that are associated with those agencies. So we continue to look at ways to recognize and really increase the stickiness with independent contractors affiliating with their host agencies. So we have some new programs that are coming out soon that will hopefully impact that, and we're really excited about it. We've co-created them with our members, really around this idea of enhancing quality across the entire Virtuoso network.
Well, so watch the space, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
more to come for sure. It's really exciting to be working and innovating in this space too. The industry is always changing, and if we don't,
I noticed that in the last 31 years.
Yeah, if we don't change to keep up with that, as much as we're growing globally in so many places around the world, we don't want to be left behind. So we're going to keep evolving.
Well, David, as always, great to see you here at Symposium.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to
Come by
seeing.
anytime.
I know. To your little villa or apartment here in Monte Carlo, and maybe we'll go to the casino later and see what happens.
The race is on in a couple of weeks. Come back.
Well, the race is right here. The stands are out there. I had to get through them. Anyway, David, great to see you. We'll see you soon, very soon. I know in August. But thank you very much for taking the time.
It's my pleasure. Thanks, James, and thanks everybody. Cheers.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.